Okay, so it's agreed then. No clips.
No clips.
Okay.
We don't need clips. We're that damn good. We don't need clips.
We don't need no stinking clips. And greetings. This is the Long in the Boot podcast, the podcast coming to you from the heel of the boot of Southwest Louisiana. I feel like I'm running a little hot here. Let me turn me down.
Oh, you're hot, baby.
Oh, yeah, I'm so hot. Anyway.
Can't help it when it's 104 degrees outside.
As I was saying, this is the Long in the Boot podcast, as if you couldn't tell by our professionalism already. And if you want to get a hold of the Long in the Boot podcast, of course, the email longintheboot@gmail.com, the phone number 337-502-9011. I remembered.
I love it when you don't stumble.
Yeah, well, I nailed it. Whew. Professionalism.
And again, I could not tell you that number. I'm not even sure I listened to you when you say it.
And I get the occasional text at that number.
Yeah.
The phone calls always seem to be
a hang up. They listen and then they hang up. Like they're scared to say anything.
It drives me nuts.
All right.
And don't be scared. It's okay.
Well, maybe I don't know.
I'm a gentle soul.
You know what? I don't have time to worry about what
you call me on the
reasoning.
Long in the Boot number, and I'll treat you right.
You're working with that hot today, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because it's Monday. It's not Sunday. We're doing a different routine.
Yeah, we're doing it on
changing
Monday.
Things up a little bit.
Missing Jeopardy even.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Depends on how long this goes. And if you think I have a plan for exactly how long these podcasts go, you'd be wrong.
No, but we do seem to get it kind of right at, an hour. Right. Sometimes at 1:10, and then you kind of clip it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try not to go on too long.
Right. And I try to remember to push the buttons like I'm supposed to.
That I was going to ask you.
And
yeah.
And never, ever do I make a mistake.
Lies. Oh, lies!
You make them all the time. Bella, she'll call you on that.
Yeah, she probably will.
She might.
She might even be in here. We left the door open.
I know, we left the door open today.
We are just letting it all hang out, people.
The dogs are here.
Deb is firmly ensconced in her brand new pajamas.
Hey, they are nice pajamas. I feel high class.
Oh, those are definitely high class.
They have
pajamas.
pockets in the pants, and I did not expect
they had
that.
Pockets, yeah.
So I feel like I got a little lottery.
So, ladies,
win.
you already know pajamas with pockets are a winner.
Are a winner. That's
yep.
right.
So
you never know when you might want to stuff something in your pocket while you're asleep.
Anyway, got some stuff happening, and we thought we'd talk about it. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the play.
Is that where we're starting?
Oh, did you have a better place to
actually,
start?
we haven't seen each other all day. We see each other less during the summer than we do during the school year.
Oh, yeah. I guess
I haven't seen you all day. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty well.
I killed a giant bear today,
while I was off.
And a wizard who used flames.
Wow.
I had a busy day.
What about the hand spiders?
Oh, the handsies. Oh, man. Oof. For you non-game players, there's this game called Elden Ring, and it's phenomenal.
All right.
Anyway, but I ran into these weird these weird spiders today that look like a human hand, but with like 8 or 9 digits.
So the 4 people out there who are our community who play Elden Ring.
When they attack you, if they grab you, the hand flips over on its back, and then it crunches you up, and you get to watch all the fingers move, and then it spits you out.
It's articulated.
However, I've noticed 2 of the handsies, when you kill them, it flips over and flips you off as it disappears into the ground.
Oh, just a little FU for killing me.
And I think that's quite awesome.
Oh, you like their sense of humor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know. You always rave about that game.
Well, this company and these games, Dark Souls, Bloodborne.
Well, I was off doing practical
Demon
shit.
Souls. You were what medical?
I was getting my follow up.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get some more shots, and I've been sedated.
We would be in Missouri.
We would be on vacation
Missouri right now
if it weren't for my aged self.
If it wasn't for Deb screwing it up.
I know. Well, anyhow, so we're gonna continue on the travels of medical science and hopefully solve my problems.
She's got pain.
Got serious pains. But I'm still trying to do my stuff. And I bought some plants today after I left the medical offices because it made sense.
And as anyone knows who listens to this or knows Deb, she is a junkie when it comes to plants.
There's so many, and they're so pretty. And,
right.
And if I don't kill them,
she watched a documentary about a particular garden.
Yeah, so
that this guy built.
You watched that guy too. It was.
Well, I didn't mean to, but it got interesting.
Yeah. See. All right. Well, we won't talk about it because I don't even remember
I
the name.
learned one thing.
What?
The secret to a really great garden: have lots of money. That's pretty much it. Have lots of money and
I don't do
work.
that, and I don't have anybody to do the work, so.
Yeah, but
I'm winging it.
That's what I learned from the documentary.
I will say that I was affirmed, though, with this new diagnosis of the SI joint issue, balance. I'm out of balance.
You're out of balance.
I'm out of balance.
Yeah.
And so we all know how important balance and maintenance are in life.
So basically,
there's the lesson.
What you're saying is your feng shui is kind of like feng shui.
I knew that though. I'm at dis-ease when I'm hurting. Then things are out of balance. So you can take that emotionally. You can take that physically. Whatever you need right now, people. If you can hear my voice, take a deep breath and exhale, and just relax. All right. So.
Well, I feel better.
You should.
I'll drink to that.
All right. So our topic today then, now that we have topics, now that we've kind of just reaffirmed that we hadn't seen each other as much as we normally do, and we hadn't talked as much, so we thought maybe today we'd do it later in the day when we had a chance to see each other.
Stuff to talk about.
For the first time.
Yeah.
After my day in town.
And, it's summer and we're both teachers. And speaking of which, hey, teachers. Can I just dive right into this, please?
Yes, do it.
Oh, man. Okay. Ohio teachers, you are lucky, lucky, lucky. Governor Mike DeWine today signed a law, which also applies to custodians and bus drivers.
Wait, stop for a second. DeWine?
DeWine.
W-H-I-N-E or W-I?
D-E-W-I-N-E.
Oh, like wine. Okay.
DeWine.
Well, I didn't know if it was wine as in drinking.
Anyway, after the horrible tragedy in Uvalde, obviously the thing to do is to give every teacher a gun.
They're going to give them a gun?
Well, I don't know if they probably have to buy it.
Oh, they have to have their own.
It'd be like South Park. South Park did it. Anyway, Ohio has now passed a law that allows qualifying adults without any permit to carry a gun.
Oh, so they've circumvented the system and they're just going to let them have it.
Wait, it also lifts restrictions on school teachers, custodians, and bus drivers. They can now carry firearms at work.
Okay, so they can have it on the premises. They don't have to get a permit?
Well, no, they don't have to get it. It's permitless.
Okay.
Now, you might say, well, what about training? Well, they get training. Used to be, in order to carry a gun,
yeah,
you had to have 728 hours.
Wow, that is a lot of time.
Armed personnel, 728 hours. But DeWine said, too long. Too long.
Okay.
You might think, well, he cut it in half, right? 728, so down to,
maybe
360. 360.
Okay.
Maybe even 200, let's say. No, it's 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
He lopped 704 hours off of the training.
Wow. But we have a pilot shortage.
He said he still prefers...
And they won't cut the hours for them.
Right. He said he still prefers law enforcement to carry guns at schools. But hey.
But if a teacher, janitor, or bus driver happens to be equipped, then...
bus drivers?
Wow.
That's just asking for trouble.
Wait, we know bus drivers. What are you saying?
I had bus drivers. I grew up with bus drivers, and there's at least one in particular that I know would have shot me. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but I understand.
All right. Wow, Ohio. That's really progressive of them.
Wait, I gotta finish.
It gets worse?
Republican state lawmakers said this new law, and it is a law.
Oh, they've passed it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That it was doing something in response to the Uvalde massacre.
They're actually being proactive.
They're being proactive.
So on the list of things we could do to help with the situation,
more guns.
More guns.
We need more guns.
And less restrictive legislation.
So there we go.
Wow.
Some good news for teachers in Ohio. And
those are
no word on whether Ohio will still allow teachers to teach the classes.
I have a story about an Ohio woman. I don't know if she's a teacher, but if this is any indication, I don't think they should have weapons. Recently, an Ohio woman was gored and tossed by a bison in Yellowstone National Park.
That's not in Ohio.
No, but she's from Ohio, and she traveled to Yellowstone
to be thrown by a bison.
To be gored and thrown by a bison. The interesting part of the story is that she's not the victim. The bison really is the victim here.
Why?
Because she got within 10 feet of the animal.
Well, there you go.
The 25-year-old, whose name has not been released, suffered puncture wounds and other injuries after she approached the bison, who was near a boardwalk, and consequently the bison gored her and tossed her 10 feet in the air. The bison was
busy playing games at the boardwalk. Don't interrupt him.
The park officials said this is the first reported incident in 2022 of the visitor threatening a bison. And she was threatening the bison by getting too close.
Hey, bison. Let me tell you something.
She was making avertive movements toward him.
Furtive movements.
And the bison responded to her threat by goring her. The bison have injured more people in Yellowstone than any other animal. They are unpredictable and can run 3 times faster than humans. There were also 2 other people at the scene who were within 25 feet, also threatening the same bison, which, of course, just was not tolerable to the bison. Park officials are reminding you must keep back 25 yards from large
25
animals.
Yards.
At least 100 yards away from bears and wolves.
That's 75 feet for you and me, kids.
You need enough room to run because they are going to catch your ass quickly when you threaten them. Well, that's like the guy with the orangutan recently. That video went viral. He climbed over the damn fence, got close to the orangutan, who then reached out, grabbed his shirt, and then pulled him to the bars.
They have the strength of 5 men. They're just...
He barely got away with his life, but
you know
what are you doing?
I'm sorry. I wish that
when animals get back at us,
Well, sometimes. Now, I'm going to see your bison story and raise you.
Oh, you've got an animal story too?
Elephant.
Oh, okay. I read this as well. Go ahead.
Now, this happened in India, so, take that for what it's worth. But a pensioner, this means an old person, by the way, a pensioner was trampled to death by an enraged elephant before the beast returned. You'll see why. Maya Murmu, age 70, was collecting water in the village of Raipal in India when an escaped elephant unleashed its anger on her. The huge creature stomped on her, and she was rushed to the hospital but died from her
didn't make
injuries.
it. No, of course she didn't. It's an elephant.
Well, as her family was preparing the body for the ritual burning, the elephant returned and pulled her body off the top of the funeral pyre, trampled it, threw her around with its trunk,
dear Lord,
and then left the savaged corpse in the area before rushing back off into the jungle.
Wow. Do elephants get rabies? What the heck? Why was he after her? Maybe she had threatened him as this Ohio woman threatened the bison.
Well, apparently in India, they're lousy with elephants.
Well, yes.
Because they have another video that I saw while reading this story. It was an elephant that went on a rampage at a wedding. Firecrackers freaked it out.
Oh, yeah.
And it just started flipping cars and trashing the wedding venue. It was great.
Wow.
And then off into the jungle.
Maybe it's a bet on the elephant's side. They're in the jungle watching these events.
What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do?
Shoot me?
Run in there, Henry, go.
They have gun control.
Just go.
They're not going to shoot me.
Well, that doesn't really make a difference. Have you looked at Chicago's news?
And Africa also gets a mention with a man trampled to death in a horror attack in Kenya. 73. Maybe they just don't like old people.
What is a horror attack?
It says horror.
Horror. Another elephant.
Not horror attack. That would be weird. Elephants attacking while whores attack? Strange.
Maybe the whores arrived on the
I
elephant's
sense
back.
reality show.
No.
When horrors attack.
That sounds like a Dave Chappelle skit. All right. Well, where are you going from
You know how
here?
you make a hormone.
Wow. Estrogen.
You don't pay her.
I really didn't think you'd do that.
I know.
I was hoping you wouldn't do that. I have ironic news. I have news. I have duh news,
Duh news?
Yeah, like news where you go, well, duh.
Duh. No, we got to talk about the movie or the play.
Oh, the play, yeah.
The play.
Okay.
The
And then we
play's
can
the
go
thing.
back. The play is the thing, sir. We did get to go out
Well, yeah, we went out
like adults.
past 5 p.m.
Yes.
And we went to see our friend, sometimes co-host, and all around good buddy,
the
Brian
Habz.
Habz,
Yes.
better known as the Habz.
The Habz.
And Habz was in a play.
He did something spontaneous and whimsical. He went and tried out for a play and got the damn part.
Yeah, he's probably like, oh, crap.
Now I got to show up.
Now I got to show up.
And he did.
But for A.C.T.S Theater was putting on the play that goes wrong.
Yes. Delightful.
And it was delightful. It's a play that kind of breaks the fourth wall at times, and
yeah, they can't see it now.
Yeah,
so we
you
can
can't see it now, so I can tell you about it. But the play goes horribly wrong for the people in the play.
From the very beginning.
Ostensibly, it's a murder mystery.
There are several murders and resurrection.
Murder. I should have got dun dun dun.
Dun. Yeah,
I have it. I just didn't put it.
Well,
in
it was.
Anyway, it was quite.
It was fun to get out.
Quite joyful.
We got to go have an Angry Irishman at the pub.
Yes, Angry Irishman, Jameson and Angry Orchard.
Yes. Order a second Angry Orchard because you're going to need to dilute it a little bit.
No doubt, man. Woo!
Thank you for the recommendations, Habz.
Habz.
It made the play even more delightful.
It really did, but it was
the
great.
building was interesting. We love the history of stuff. We always tell you we want to talk about the history. So of course, after we sat in those ancient seats for a period of time,
Well,
we decided.
Okay, so wait. First of all, if you've never been to the A.C.T.S Theater, kids, you should go see a play at the
in
A.C.T.S
Lake
Theater.
Charles, Louisiana.
In Lake Charles.
Yeah.
It's down north of Railroad Avenue. Or no, it's just south of Railroad Avenue.
Okay.
And on Reed Street. So it's literally in that part of Lake Charles that was original.
Yeah, it's
the old
part of
Lake
town.
Charles. And it was a very cool building, but the chairs were horrible. That they leaned way too far back.
Said they were probably came out of a planetarium.
Well, the springs were busted.
If you leaned back,
that's
were
not a
looking at the
complaint,
ceiling.
mind you. I know they're not rich putting on those plays.
No.
And so I'm not complaining.
No, but it
Get
was
that straight. I'm
painful
not
for me.
complaining. But
it did make us look up the history of the building.
It did make us look up the history.
And I thought the seats came from, I said the Paramount, and I think, wasn't that where they did actually come from, the Paramount?
Yes, they came, they came from the Paramount, and that's the reason the springs are weak is because lots and lots and lots of fat Americans.
Lots of gluteus maximuses have been in those seats over
but
the decades.
they're actually really good shape considering.
Yeah.
But the springs are shot. And, just a thought, somebody needs to go in and just put some 2x4 wedges in the springs. Boop, fixed.
Yeah, all right.
That's all it would take.
I think these people are mostly volunteers.
Yeah, I know.
Probably not happening.
It could, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the question we had was, what about this building, man? This building is really cool, and it kind of seems like it's purpose-built to be a theater.
Yeah.
And it's really old. It's down, and I can't explain it to you.
So we Googled it.
You come out the front door, you're looking at the railroad.
Oh, yeah.
In Lake Charles, and the river's just down the street, a little north of there.
And soldiers in World War I and World War II.
And wouldn't you know,
road trains past that building.
There's conflicting information.
The internet doesn't have one
God,
story.
I know.
I read it twice trying to figure it out.
Well, first I've got the theater was built between 1917 and 1921. It is one. Now this part is true. It is the only theater in Lake Charles that was built before World War II.
Okay. Well, that's what I said. I read that soldiers going to World War I and World War II road trains past that building.
Right.
Okay.
The theater was built between 1970 and 1921. It combined 2 lot locations on Railroad Avenue. And then it says the exact date's hard to pin down. It says in 1917 there was no theater there. And in 1921, the movie house, silent movies, existed. So that makes it seem as if it was built around 1918, 1919, somewhere in there. Anyway, also on the corner was the old Central Grocery. The building became Central Grocery in the 1950s, and it existed for a few years, it says, although I recall somebody having some kind of weird grocery store in that building when I first moved to Lake Charles.
When you first moved down here, that was 82.
It was sketchy. It was sketchy then. More even sketchier than it is now. Well,
they should have a grocery store down there. People live there. There should be a grocery store.
Now, you got to remember, these are reminiscences from people who actually grew up then.
Yeah.
Said, my grandparents owned and ran the Pelican Meat Market on the west side of the theater from 1920 to 1956. So for 36 years, there was a meat market just west of the theater.
The people that lived in that area had stuff. They had
been there forever.
Yeah.
The families owned those properties. They had Grandma and Grandpa were the first business to offer boudin for sale in Lake Charles.
Oh, wow.
And the best hogshead cheese, it says.
It would always be the best.
They sold things which would interest moviegoers, like cold drinks, hamburgers, and I love this, dried shrimp.
Oh, those little...
yeast cakes, candy, and ice cream. And, of course, cigarettes. I can remember roasting and selling peanuts outside of the front store from a peanut poacher. I don't know what a peanut poacher is.
No, but there used to be people that would sell
peanut
peanuts.
Poacher.
They would sell
poached peanuts.
The roasted peanuts.
Yes,
on the side of the road.
I get it now.
They did that when I was a
kid.
kid.
Ice cream and cold drinks that he said they would pull out of the water cooler.
All right.
So anyway, that was one. And then another one right there, the theater was built in 1903. Well, man.
Well, maybe they started laying the foundation, but they just didn't get done until a later time.
Railroad Avenue was the main street in town, and the movie was a major factor in entertainment. He remembered the grocery store on the corner attached to the building, the clothing stores east of the theater, and the sanitary bakery west of the theater, where bread, cookies, and cakes were baked and sold at a time when I-10 had yet to exist and had not cut off the upper portions of Kirkman, Reed, Moss Ford, and Louisiana Avenue.
So the people living there continued to live there, but the businesses.
Right, and that's why the streets are cut. And a lot of people, I'm sure, that first get to Lake Charles.
You get lost down there.
Kirkman goes through. Mm-hmm. It goes under the interstate. But Reed, Moss, Ford, and I think Louisiana Avenue also may cut across. Or no, Enterprise does, not Louisiana Avenue.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, when sound was introduced to the movies, it says it was called the Louisiane. In the 30s, the movie house became the Delta, which it remained for quite some time. But then I'm like, it says the Delta, and the Delta was a black-only movie theater. But then, of course, I get that, and then I find another story that says the Dixie Theater was opened in 1940. Now, the building was already there.
Yeah, the building was there. Oh, is this where they did the reconstruction, or is this?
I'm not sure. The small theater seated 350 was operated by Southern Amusements and was listed in the registry, whatever the registry is, as a Negro theater.
Because we were segregated.
So it was called the Dixie. So we've got, dueling things.
Conflicting stories.
Who cares?
Leave it to the internet.
Anyway.
Somebody out there knows. Somebody that works for ACTS or that is a participant in ACTS.
Or is the great-great-grandchild of one of these people.
Well, that's true. That could very well be. They could come and tell stories about it.
So anyway, but the building is really cool.
It is
when you walk in,
cool.
you can tell it was purpose-built as a theater.
Yeah.
And it's got some old-timey stuff. And the play was great. Bryant was excellent.
As a dead man.
Until
he wasn't.
Until he was. Well, he was, sort of.
Not when he charged in with a gun. Several times inappropriately before that was on cue. So
hence the name,
delightful.
The play that goes wrong.
There was culture in Lake Charles.
All of the people in it were great.
All of them.
I was very impressed.
Yes.
And just wanted to say that. And if you got to go down and see it, then awesome.
Good on you.
Because they need butts in seats.
That's right. In those old Paramount seats.
And who knows what we will go back and see a play, though.
We will, because it's a different perspective.
But I'll bring something to help me sit.
We love entertainment, and watching a play is different. As one of the actors said in his little bio, if I can get you in here for 2 hours and you don't have a cell phone and you're just absorbed in the story, then the play was the thing.
No one had their cell phones
No, they listened and they did not have their cell
phones.
phones.
We laughed, and it was great.
And there was audience interaction with because we broke the wall,
Yeah, and so it was good fun.
Unlike the wall in the theater that they could not break because it was so solidly built. They said they actually just left that wall because it would have been way too expensive to take it down when they remodeled.
And so they remodeled, but they left the wall alone. It's probably the wall we walked next to when we left, that side area right there. That made that alleyway.
The main side where we had to go down the alley, not down the sidewalk.
Because there was a wall next to us
because the police officer said, "Don't go this way."
Yeah, don't go that way. Go this way.
Go this way. In the daylight, we walked that way, but then at night, the police officer said, "Go the other way."
Yeah.
Okay.
And but the wall looked pretty solid.
Yes, it did look pretty solid.
Anywho. There you go. So if you get a chance to
culture
go see
in Lake Charles, yes,
at the A.C.T.S Theater,
there is culture in Lake Charles. I was joking. There's absolutely culture and
there's music, all kinds of good stuff.
Yes,
and if you could get on Landon Blood, a friend of the show, has got some videos
just posted
on YouTube.
His new song, which just had me all up in the feels. There's a couple of lines in there. You got to kind of meditate on them.
It gets right on top of you.
It does, because they're all feelings that I think we've all had. Because, times being what they are.
And what are they?
Challenging.
Wicked.
Well, if that's how you see it.
All right. So, anyway.
Not all people are wicked.
No, of course not.
No, of course not. The man who saved all the kittens,
he's not wicked.
He was a Louisiana man, but they never say where he was actually from. He sees a lonely kitten on the side of the road. He just turns around, goes back to save the kitten, and then he's ambushed by
all the other
13.
Kittens.
He ended up with 13 kittens. He took them all home and managed to find homes. But it was just, the video or the images are just hysterical. They all just come out of the grass. So good on you, dude, saving all those little kitties.
And so I would like to point out, too, by the way, that the Long in the Boot podcast promises you, the listener, that we will never raise our prices. Just wanted you to know
we'll
that.
Try not to end on a negative note.
We'll try.
We always try to end on a positive.
Yes.
Did you have a negative news story today?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. It's one of these things.
Everything in life?
I have an amusing story.
Okay, go for amusing.
Okay, well, now you may have heard of this, but in San Francisco, they do these drag queen story hours at the libraries.
Oh,
right?
The library story. I read.
The drag queens come in and read to kids, and everybody has a good time and is smiling.
They don't.
Well, not everybody.
They don't.
However, a hate crime investigation is underway after alleged Proud Boys storm drag queen story hour at a Bay Area library.
They said they didn't know if they were actually members or if they were just promoting themselves as members. Well, isn't that the same damn thing?
I'm going to go a step further and say, Jesus, the bar's really low there, guys.
I know.
Right? I mean, you got kids there. There's children.
But that's why they're there.
No.
Gee long. They're there because they don't want them influencing children.
The parents brought those children. And those assholes have no right.
Those men know better.
Those proud assholes have no right to tell other parents what they can and can't do with their children, provided the children aren't. Well, they're wrong.
They think they can, and that's
they're
what
no
they're doing.
Different than people who tell other people that they must their kids must use other pronouns or whatever. It's all just nonsense. It's all just a swirling cauldron of bullshit. And I'm fed up.
Okay.
So now, am I angry about it? Not really. There's nothing I can do about it, but I think that
we should be aware.
Well, no, I think that if you are so determined to change the culture, we are going to change everything. Well, where do we start? Well, there's these drag queens at the library reading to small children. And we need to put a stop to it.
They would say that they're indoctrinating children.
What part do we need to put a stop to?
The indoctrination.
The indoctrination.
To let small children think it's okay to dress up. Don't let them think that. It's not okay to dress up.
So we need to put a stop to the reading.
We need to put a stop to the dressing up and reading.
Yes, we do.
Both of those things. Actually, what's going to happen is, and when I read the story, my first thought is, dear God, who are these kids going to be more afraid of? Proud Boy persona type men or
Here's a thought.
Men who are dressed as women.
Let's have a trans come in and read Mein Kampf to children. That'll really throw a monkey wrench into the Proud Boys' work, huh?
All right, I can't argue.
We got to go break this up. Yeah, but he's reading Mein Kampf. Yeah, but he's dressed like a girl. But it's Mein Kampf,
but
man.
You're presuming then that they approve of
Proud Boys are Nazis.
Mein Kampf.
Proud Boys are Nazis.
And that they've read it.
And I bet at least 40% of them could probably read it.
Ooh. Maybe if they had been read to as children.
They wouldn't understand it.
By anybody.
But to be fair, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, when I read the story, I was a little bothered by the whole thing.
Anyway, but I just thought it was funny that you've got these guys who are all about machismo and do it right and everything else. Yeah. And so they look around to see who to attack to change the culture. And San Francisco, they didn't go to like Utah or Montana for Drag Queen Story Hour.
Because they're not doing it in Utah or Montana.
I beg to differ. They have had Drag Queen Story Hours in many states with no problems at all. But these idiots go to San Francisco, the one place guaranteed to what? Get attention.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, to get the media.
Sorry, folks. I hit it with my hand.
Sure. Just like an abuser, just like a man.
I don't care. You know what? If a guy that dresses like a woman
wants to read
to kids.
And they were little preschool kids. They were terrified, I'm sure.
Here's what I say. Let the market decide.
Well, yeah, if parents
nobody shows up,
then
the market has decided.
Yeah, I know.
If parents do show up, then shut your mouth and let this person read to kids. God knows you guys aren't reading to kids.
We generally aren't. Well, I'm going to stop it all there.
There.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not negative. I wasn't being negative.
Oh, okay. Can I give you one of my favorite no shit stories?
Sure.
Louisiana, because we try to stay in
reasonably
the boot.
local.
Laws in Louisiana prevent domestic abusers from owning a firearm.
Ain't that nice?
That we have laws for that. Louisiana ranks 5th in the nation when it comes to domestic violence.
Yeah, but we still have
5th in the nation. But a new program, because they're trying to stop these kinds of things because it's new.
Arm the wives,
and we need to stop all of this. A new program could change that. In domestic violence situations where there is a firearm, you want to take a guess? How many times more likely to be murdered with that firearm?
1,000,000.
500, yeah. 500 times more likely to be killed with a firearm if there's a domestic situation and there's a gun present. I couldn't have guessed that. Statistics are eye-opening. 66% of domestic violence victims in Louisiana are killed with a firearm. That is higher than the national average.
And let me guess, I'll bet 90% of them are women. In domestic situations. Even still, that's the equalizer for a woman, right? A gun. If somebody's beating on her, she can put an end to it with a gun. But I'll bet you the vast majority of people shot by abusers are still women.
Well, yeah.
I bet you.
Of course. Louisiana put a law in place, though, that's going to protect the victims.
Oh, you mean like a restraining order?
More so than a restraining order, yes. In 2018, the legislature in Louisiana passed a law that removes firearms from people convicted of domestic violence or who have a domestic violence protective order against them. So if they have an order or they've been convicted of it, Louisiana is going to remove that firearm from them. Guess how they do that?
They show up and take it?
They're ordered. There's an order, and they have 3 days
to turn
in their firearm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm sure they all do that.
I have an exit strategy. It just came to me.
What?
Well, no.
No, you're going to. Okay. So the DA's office tags along with the agency to do what they call knock and talk.
Knock and talk.
Knock and talk. They check on abusers to make sure that they don't have a gun.
Hi, buddy.
So,
ignore the body armor and the handgun and the taser on my belt.
It just made me think of that guy that we just saw, that the whole world just saw a video of from Bridge City, Texas.
Oh, the one
Chris
throwing the young child around,
who threw the little girl over a road rage situation. Because then all I'm thinking about the whole time is his poor wife.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't the first time he lost his shit.
She's clearly abused.
Everybody's like, oh, he's drunk.
Or armed.
Drunk or sober, that man is a violent person.
Restraining orders are like hunting permits for crazy husbands.
So you're 500 times more likely to be shot in a domestic situation if there's a gun in the house.
Well, that's true anyway.
Well, no.
If a gun's in the house,
all right.
In any argument, brother, sister, cousin.
If there's a gun available. Okay, so.
All three.
So, oh, man. Did you have another?
I have one.
I only have one story
Finally, our government in Louisiana is going to stick it to those people who bought electric cars. Finally. Oh, those people.
I thought we were transitioning. I thought that was the whole damn point of all of this.
Yeah, just get them. Stick them. They're going to charge an annual fee of $110 if you have an electric vehicle and $60 if you own a hybrid, because you're not paying your fair share in gas taxes. Oh, dear God. Well, now, the electricity is taxed.
An electric. Oh, they already have an electric tax. Yeah. I already pay taxes on electricity.
If you don't pay taxes, you pay service fees, which are effectively the same thing. So all you people who are going, yeah, I'm going to get me an electric car. Yeah, well.
Well, they're going to make that happen.
Well, hopefully they're going to. You think they'll spend that $110 for each electric car on infrastructure? Look, I don't think people will have a problem with electric cars once they have a way of getting across the country without running out of juice. But until that, and I've read 3 stories this week
about electric cars.
Where it was people who blogged a journey in an electric car.
How badly it went.
How terrifying it was.
How awful.
And my favorite was one of them, the people were pulled over on the side of the road waiting for a charge, and some guy pulled up and he had a generator for a welder in his back of his truck,
and he charged him up, and it got him out of there quicker.
And yeah, but still, the point is,
so you need to carry your own generator if you have an electric car and you want to go on a long trip. Just bring a generator.
But here's the thing, until the infrastructure's there, stop pushing us. And I get it. That's why the oil prices and the gas prices are so high.
Oh, yeah.
They're forcing us to go to electric cars before people who live in the country. And by the way, that's the issue here really, is your government and your state government as well, your federal and state, they're going to stick it to you if you live in the country.
Oh, yeah. Well, they always have.
Because they look at the country as those damn Trump supporters, no matter what. So they're going to, they're all Republicans in the country, they assume. So if the Democrats are in charge, you can bet they're going to stick it to you. Meanwhile,
don't you label me and put me in a box.
Meanwhile, Republicans go the other way. You got an electric vehicle? You think you're smart? Well, give me $110.
You just pay. Well, that's all. That's the point, isn't it?
And next year it'll be $120. And that's on top of that tax just recently passed. You want to walk on a wildlife preserve?
Mm-hmm. You got to pay for it. We got to have money for that. Well, again, how do we take care of anything for the government? It has to be money.
Money.
But we can't have like mental and physical health care for the entire country.
No, that's socialism. Don't even.
That's socialism. Yes.
Health care.
And mental health care.
If you want good health care, get elected. You will have the very best health care. There you go.
Okay. And my story was actually have you heard about this faction within the Democratic Party, the New Democratic Coalition, the NDC?
I have not, but I'm not surprised.
Okay. I got the story from Fox News, I'm telling you already, it's an opinion piece. The author is a man named Scott Peters. I'm not so wrapped up in Fox or CNN or Sky or BB. I'm not. I just read it and go with it. I'm not spending time researching who's writing the story. So Scott Peters.
You're just falling for the
Fox
Kool-Aid.
News. Well, I found his opinion piece quite interesting because he starts with this.
Uh-oh.
Otto's calling it already. I haven't even begun the story. Last year, we were just recovering from COVID and economic and public health crisis. So today, thanks to science, the resiliency of the American people, and the work of President Joe Biden and congressional Democrats, our economy is rebounding. Kids are in school, millions are vaccinated, Americans are back at work. However, this growth, coupled with the lingering pandemic challenges and Putin's cruel and unprovoked invasion, have resulted in global inflation that is hitting Americans hard. Okay, so we know who to blame. Right?
Putin.
Lingering pandemic.
Putin.
and Putin's cruel and unprovoked. People, that's bias right there. He's already cruel and unprovoked. So we know what we have to think.
Well, it was cruel and unprovoked.
It was. Well, no, it kind of was provoked.
Yeah.
Ukrainian Nazis provoked that shit.
No, that's incorrect. America provoked it, and Europe provoked it by allowing the NATO to continue moving towards Russia.
So I'm going to say his unprovoked part was not true. Biden and Congress have taken steps to address inflation, and this is how they've done it. Improving our supply chains. They've released millions of barrels of oil from our reserves, and they're rebuilding our roads, ports, and bridges. But we're not going to stop there. No, we're not, the new, you got to.
That's just the tip.
This is the buzz here. New Democratic coalition. So we got to be aware of these people. They are the urgent challenge of inflation requires all hands on deck. And where is the quote?
Platitudes.
Their mission here. I want to give you their 3-prong plan.
Wait, say that again.
3-prong plan.
3 prongs.
I know.
I thought you could only get hit with 2, but go ahead.
We got plenty of holes. A bipartisan innovation bill that will do boost production, lower prices, and secure supply chains. Okay, bipartisan bill, boost productions, lower prices, and secure supply chain. We don't know how the hell they're going to do that, but it's a nice general statement. Prong 2. Budget reconciliation bill that secures America's energy independence and makes the transition to clean energy to combat climate change, cut healthcare costs, lower prices, and reduce the deficit. That's prong 2.
Because prong 1 is now pulling out. So that was prong 2.
Yeah,
just
prong
not
2
quite
is
fully
going
out.
in. We're going to reconcile.
Prong 1 went in. Prong 2 is coming out. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, prong 3. You ready?
That's going to hurt.
Use the rest of our legislative time effectively, as opposed to the ineffective ways we've used our legislative time to pass bills, large and small, that lower prices on everyday necessities, including food, gas, housing, and more.
Prong 3 sounds a little flaccid. I'm just saying.
So despite the slim majorities, we have the support for all 3 prongs of these policy priorities, and they can get it done if they act fast. The quote is, this is what they're called. Where is that damn? And they had to roll back. Where is it? Roll back misguided Trump-era tariffs.
They haven't rolled back any tariffs yet.
Well, they're going to. That's something that needs to. They are the get stuff done party.
So allow cheap Chinese goods back into the country.
Yes. But
that
they're going to
help us with inflation.
But they're going to increase manufacturing here, and we know we need a higher salary, and we need health care. So I don't know.
We can't afford that.
So really my problem with the whole story, one, is the belief that that Biden has fixed things and is working fervently to counter the unprovoked and cruel
But we can't afford any of this because, hey, get those missiles on the pallets and get them to the Ukraine, quick.
Yeah. Kind of like poor George Takei and his little comment that backfired on him.
Oh, my.
Oh, yes. If you haven't read it, I'll let you go do that.
Well,
so they will pay attention to those buzzwords. They are the get stuff done new Democrats.
Yay.
Get stuff done new Democrats. So in other words, they're the people under 70.
I don't even know anymore.
Are they under 70 as opposed to the old Democrats?
Maybe they're separating themselves from California Democrats who seem to be a little nutty.
Well, I see the problem here is us separating ourselves constantly.
Well, here is the problem. So that leads me right to this story. Why everything about politics sucks.
See, when we don't talk, look what happens.
Yeah, it's a chart, but I don't need the chart. I can explain it to you pretty easy.
Can you?
I think I can. Only 6% of Americans, 6%,
not many,
say the federal government is extremely careful with taxpayer money. I can't believe it's that high.
So they don't budget.
Okay. Yet, Americans consistently report they need the government to do more.
So we know they're not physically responsible.
Okay, so I'm going to break this down by party.
And that's physically with an F, not a P.
Okay, so we have a question. And the question, or the question is basically, is it the government's job to protect people from themselves?
No, you should be allowed to do stupid crap.
It's two choices. You have, it's not the government's job to protect people from themselves, or sometimes laws to protect people from themselves are necessary. Now, I know how you could already say, look, speeding, for instance. Yes. We can't just doesn't matter.
But in Europe, they have.
But here we go. Republicans, 61% say the government's job is not to protect people from themselves.
Oh, okay.
Democrats, only 23%.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Laws to protect people are necessary to protect them from themselves. Republicans, 35%. Democrats, 70%.
Believe that we're not capable of, because wouldn't that just be the self-preservation and evolution? I mean,
right. Okay,
Darwin's law, you're going to,
next,
if you're
do
too
you
stupid,
trust the government in Washington to do the right thing? No party. 20% say yes.
Wow.
Without asking
party
about
affiliation, party. You don't know who they're, who
they're
siding with.
This number has not changed since George Bush Sr.'s second term in office.
Okay, so
our first term in office.
That statistic has remained constant.
It has remained absolutely constant.
But they are talking to voters, right? They are talking to registered voters.
Registered voters.
Okay. Not just homeless.
Is the government responsive to the needs of ordinary Americans? Only 8%.
8% of.
Also none changed for many years.
Okay, and that's unidentified, unaffiliated? 8%?
Yeah, well, okay. It's both parties.
Oh, both sides. Okay.
Yeah, it's just random people. Here's the fun part. People say the government responds well to natural disasters. 70% say that's true.
All right.
It's good at keeping people safe from terrorists by about 68%.
Okay.
On immigration and alleviating poverty, 25% say the government's good.
So even we have that many people that feel like they're doing a good job in those areas?
Americans' views on a variety of political issues are paradoxical.
That's because people are fickle. They have always been fickle throughout time. It's not new.
So that's the thing that's weird. Effectively handling threats to public health.
Oh, like COVID?
62% of Democrats say it was handled well. 34% of Republicans say it was handled well. So double Democrats.
Double, yeah. Well, and you're seeing those kind of numbers. I mean, that's a wide swing.
And my favorite, do you trust the government? This is the weird thing. Do you trust the government to solve problems important to you? And only 20% say yes.
So then it's not the government's job to protect you from yourself.
On the next question, should the government do more to solve problems? 60% say yes.
Okay. We're screwed. We're just screwed.
72% of blacks, 68% of Asians, and 65% Hispanics say the government should do more. And yet less than 25% of those three groups say the government is good at what it does.
But yet we want their help.
But do more.
Well,
and in the 18 to 25 bracket, 70% say the government should be doing more. In that group, less than 20% say the government does a good job.
Fewer than 20%.
Sorry. I should have known.
So, well, and then that's the group that's coming up. Those are the future leaders. But
that's the problem.
Well, yeah.
You've got a bunch of people saying the government is screwed. It can't do anything right except natural disasters. But they need to solve all these important problems.
But solve my damn day-to-day problems.
But you just said you don't think they're doing a good job. But somebody's got to do it.
And that's why they don't like the country people, because we're just out here doing our thing, living our life. Stay out of my... Well,
sorry.
You talk about the government, you get...
I'm talking with my hands.
You're gesticulating.
I know.
Do you see where my hands are? What
am
I doing?
You're sitting on your hands.
I'm sitting on my hands.
I refuse to do that.
All right. Well,
anyway, so there you go. If you want to know why the country is screwed, it's because people are goofy. That's why. Just do your thing. That's all you got to do.
Mind your own business.
Grow some vegetables.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of your pets.
Take care of your people, your tribe.
And when it's like it is now, make sure to feed and water your pets and plants.
Twice a day.
My Lord.
Take a shower.
Take
several showers.
I just took a shower.
Well, I know. It's Louisiana. You got to take a shower late in the day, too.
Oh, you got to have a late shower.
You got to have a morning and a late, yeah.
Louisiana is a late shower if you're only going to get one shower a day in Louisiana, it better be at the end of the day.
Well, days like this, I get to go out and work in the yard as much as I possibly can. Now,
I like a morning rinse and then a good scrub down.
Yeah,
at the end
and then
of the day.
when I come in at noonish, that's a full on bath.
You got anything left, or you want to wrap it up?
The power says you might want to wrap
That was
up.
the air conditioner kicking on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because we know it's hot. Well, now that you've brought us into this, philosophical questions, what harsh truths do you prefer to ignore? Because now we've just revealed the truth of the fickleness of humanity, the likelihood that we're not going to pull it together, but life will continue.
Well, life goes on.
So what is
the
the harsh? But you don't choose to ignore that. You're actually looking forward to that.
I'm not looking forward to dying.
But when it happens, it's gonna.
I'm just not going to be shocked. It's not going to be a surprise.
Maybe that's the question they need to ask 17 to 25-year-olds.
Oh, I would have a much different answer if I was 18.
Oh, that's something we didn't talk about. After the graduation period of our life, you asked a couple people you asked everybody. You got a couple answers of what would you
tell your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, I know. Number one, our community listener Kobe said that. Don't get that credit card.
Don't get that credit card.
If you need that
Boy,
T-shirt they're offering for free, it's not free. Don't get the credit card. You're going to pay like 15%, maybe 25% now because they're going to raise the interest rates again. That credit card is not free. So 18-year-olds, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Unless you plan on fleeing the country.
Unless you need it. If you need some money.
If you're not physically responsible.
We're not going to own anything in the future.
Why do we have to be physically responsible if
everything's going to be a
government
service?
Doesn't? Oh, like everything will be an app.
Everything will be a service. You'll pay a monthly. Yeah, it's basically an app. If you think about it, Uber's an app. It's just a physical 3-dimensional app. I mean, you put it on your phone, but in reality, it's an app literally in the world. You know what I mean? It's not just the app on your phone.
I don't know if the audience knows what you mean.
Well, I think they understand. You're paying for a service, just like with apps. You pay for a service.
They're not there all the time.
Right.
They can go away.
All of our TV now is something you pay for monthly.
Yeah, and it can easily go away.
You've got people out there who buy meals that way. Those are sort of like 3-dimensional reality apps.
So
in a way.
That's where NFTs came from, the thought.
Oh, I think that
was
I think that was just a grift.
Yeah, I think it's just.
Speaking of which, they stopped withdrawals from Bitcoin today.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Freaked some people out. People who thought Bitcoin was a real thing. Maybe it is.
Well, maybe its time just isn't here yet. We haven't reached the transition yet.
I'm just too old to understand blockchain.
Well, I don't have a problem with where the future's going.
Well, neither. I know where it's going to end up. It's not a problem for me.
Well, we're all going to end up there at some point.
Yeah.
All right.
The great things that we share as a species: birth and death, and everything in between. And whatever that length of time is, you try to live the best life you can.
You do, and you try to find that balance
and
maintain.
Yeah,
maintain that balance.
I had a couple more
Our
stories.
Our country
but
is out of balance, and that's the problem. Yeah, I don't. I had something else, but I think it's really controversial, serious. So I'm not going to do it right now.
Yeah, these are both serious.
It's in my book. So
I will leave it with, you know what? I'm not going to do the whole story, but I will say, speaking of government officials.
See, you're being fickle and you're telling a story you weren't going to tell.
Yeah, I'm going to shorten it a lot.
Community, I'm highly suspect.
I'm even going to embellish the story a little bit because I'm going to use an accent that I know he doesn't even have. House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. You remember him. He was the one that was shot playing baseball by a psychotic left-winger, which is why you don't hear about it very often. So you brought
it back to Louisiana. That's why it's okay.
It's yeah. And he's talking about the shooting in Uvalde, and he goes, I go back to September 11th. Because on that tragic day, the country made a clear realization that dots weren't being connected. Terrorist attacks were happening, and the country didn't have the right focus on the fundamental problems that were creating those attacks. Airplanes were used that day as the weapon to kill thousands of people. We didn't have a conversation about banning airplanes.
Wow. Wow. So
wait, we didn't have a conversation about banning airplanes. After 9/11, you might recall that a whole slew of safety measures were put in place, including having to take off your shoes.
That our airline experience changed drastically. Oh, and an entire industry, TSA, was created to sniff up our butt.
Cabinet department.
And a whole, exactly.
A cabinet department. Homeland Security.
But we didn't talk about getting rid of airplanes.
And I think we rolled our immigration service right into Homeland Security, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, sure, you don't know who's coming across.
But notice nobody mentions, by the way, that part of the problem with that whole 9/11 thing was all of our intelligence people weren't talking. They could have actually stopped it before it happened if they all communicated.
If they had communicated, which is part of the whole gun issue too. All those agencies need to talk to each other, including the juvenile courts.
Remember, 70% of people, nearly 78, it was 68% of people think the government does a good job protecting us from terrorists. Do they? Or have we just been lucky?
We've been so lucky.
Yeah. Anyway.
Food for thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little food for thought. All right, but we said we would always end on a positive.
Positive.
Yes.
Positive.
How will we become extinct?
Sarah Palin may become a senator.
I saw that she was running.
I mean, that's not a positive, but I just thought I'd point it out. Let me see what I can do here. I will.
I know.
Here we go. Something positive, something funny, something hilarious. How to Murder Your Husband author sentenced to life in prison after being found guilty of, you guessed it, murdering her husband.
More irony.
There we go.
Maybe that was our thread this week. Irony.
And tomorrow night, the strawberry supermoon.
Yes. But they won't know that until after the case.
Sounds like some kind of weed.
We release this on Wednesday.
Oh, this is strawberry supermoon cheesecake.
Titty sprinkles.
And
it's a flavor.
Yeah, I suppose.
It is. I saw it listed. It was called Titty Sprinkles.
Titty Sprinkles.
Specifically for dancers.
Michigan man dies after driving his car into a river. The coroner is still determining the cause of death.
Okay.
That's a real headline.
Now you're just reading
No, that's a real headline.
I know it is. I read it too, but we've already done headline stories.
Today's Anne Frank's birthday.
I saw that.
Yay! There, positive news.
The little girl that's remembered.
Yeah.
Trying to make the world and people better.
Yeah.
Trying to make sense of it all.
Anyway.
So
there you go.
If you're struggling to make sense of it all, just remember.
Talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody. Yeah.
Give us a call. No, don't give us a call. I don't know.
I'd talk you down. I might be able to talk somebody through some,
I try to
some
talk
tough
you down.
Shit. Yeah.
I try to talk you down off a roof. I certainly wouldn't pull a Homelander.
Well, and I would. God, dear Lord, if you're and all of our audience might not be watchers.
By the way, if you're not
Boys.
watching The Boys with your kids,
everybody's cup of tea. I mean,
make sure you watch with your kids.
Oh, shut up! Do not have your children in the room. Good God,
Mr. Long is not autauthorized to make such comments.
He is definitely not. Do not encourage that kind of behavior.
Oh my gosh!
All right, so
the problem is we're watching too many comedies that are like
dark.
Well, it's like. It's a comedy?
Well, but isn't that real life? I like that because that's a little more realistic because life is weird. Are we right at an hour? Okay.
Wow.
Well, I'm glad I kept my other stuff to myself and I wanted everybody to know.
What other stuff?
The other stories are not stories, actually. It was a discussion we had about things that have probably served their time in our culture.
Oh, like circuses and rodeos and
but see, it's
things like that.
Deep topic and
beauty pageants for small children where they dress them up like little tiny adults. Things like that.
Yeah, things that I predict in the future will become less prevalent.
When we're feeling one day particularly pissed off, let's talk about those stories.
Well, they don't make me angry. I don't care if they exist.
Oh, no, I'm never going to get angry enough to actually do something about some of these silly things. Maybe you need to think about it before you do it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's that whole pendulum in society, right? We go to one extreme and then we think, well, that didn't work out so well. So what do? We're going to go to another extreme. No, we find the damn middle.
Well, yeah, but look how long it takes us sometimes. It's like, it's been 70 years, but this segregation doesn't seem to be working. And people don't know how to stay in their damn lane. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane.
Stop. Even if they're not texting.
We're talking about on actual roads.
I'm talking about metaphorically and physically.
Literally.
The people on the road are horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
If you've noticed that people can't stay in their lanes, or if you're one of those people
who continue to come over into my lane, keep your ass between the lines.
That's right.
Damn.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to be. I'm having to be so aware.
Oh, I couldn't ride a motorcycle anymore.
No, I would not be.
I'd be terrified the whole time.
I'd be worried about you all the time, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Parents, if you've got young children or you've got like a 15, 16-year-old, good luck. Man, right. Take them out, teach them, show them how to be evasive drivers. And maybe we need it. That's it. Driving courses now, they don't need to be like they used to be because life isn't like that anymore. You need to be, defensive driving needs to be serious defensive driving. Like you're teaching them to be a cop driver.
Right.
Like how to roll a car if it's necessary.
As I used to tell my students.
When you were teaching driver's ed?
When I was a professional driver's ed teacher.
Before.
I even had that break. I told them to expect every car that you see in front of you to do something that could cause you to be in a wreck.
Yeah, don't be distracted.
That car about to pull out, it's going to pull out. That car that is hitting its brakes in front of you, it's going to slam them on. You're going to hit them.
Yeah, assume that the worst is going to happen.
And if you drive and you look, you'll see staying in your lane is one of the biggest problems there is now because people are too distracted. Number two, it's people following too closely. Maintain your distance, idiots.
Well, just like the Ohio woman in Yellowstone. You got to stay back. Don't get close to that bison.
Don't do it.
You're threatening him if you get too close.
I saw a woman attacked by a goose today because she was trying to help the little gooselet jump over the curb.
Oh, and the mama goose is like having none of that.
No, she was not.
I'm trying to teach that baby.
That woman will never mess with a goose again. I want to see that goose and that bison square up.
All right.
Like that kangaroo and that guy.
You're going to have to be defensive out there in the world, people.
That's right. Keep your head on a swivel.
Find your joy. It's portable. You got to take it with you.
You do.
You do.
Well, everybody, have a good week.
Bye, community.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
2.
Yeah, unless, something bad happens.
On the flip side.
But I won't be shocked.